It's a real setback for Arsenal. But it's threaded in by Bruno Guimaraes.
Is everywhere. The first one is done and is a crushing blow to Arsenal. It's a 2-0 win for Newcastle and the top four is in Tottenham's hands. Liverpool need to avoid defeat to keep the title race going and those slim flickering hopes to the final day. They're at Southampton. We've got that one for you on Tuesday, and then the attention turns to the bottom. Another massive night on Thursday. Everton go again. They know if they beat Crystal Palace, they're guaranteed a place in the Premier League next season. Burnley, on the back of that defeat at Tottenham, are at Aston Villa. Chelsea, as I say, confirmed top four, welcome Leicester City. That is the screenshot all Spurs fans wanted tonight and all Arsenal supporters dreaded. It is in Tottenham's hands when they go to Norwich on Sunday. Arsenal welcome Everton. In fact, because of the goal difference, as you can see, it's significantly in Tottenham's favour. All Spurs need to do is avoid defeat at Carrow Road. Newcastle up to 46 points. That's their highest total since they were promoted back to the Premier League 5 years ago. And of course, they've got one more game to go, an important one at the bottom. They're away at Burnley. Into the top 12 and still in with a chance of a top half finish. Let's get the one from the Arsenal manager. Here is Mikel Arteta.
Well, Mikel, in terms of result and performance, was that a really tough night for your team?
It was a really difficult night to swallow. Newcastle deserved to win the match comfortably. They were much better than us from the beginning to the last minute, and we had nothing in the game.
Can you explain the performance then?
They were much better in every department. They were much better in the duels, in the second balls. Every time they kicked the ball up, they could manage to do so. We were poor with the ball. We didn't defend the restarts of play or set piece in the way we have to do. We had nothing in the game.
But why poor in so many areas on such a big night? Why do you think?
Well, a lot of things happen as well during the night with the substitution that we have to make through injuries and everything, but it's not an excuse. Newcastle deserves to win the match from the beginning because they were much better than us in everything that a full match requires to be on top of that.
Your youth, your energy is usually such an asset, but tonight, rather than youthful, did it look like an inexperienced team, maybe not quite ready for that next step?
That's what we have to think about, but it's true that we could not cope tonight with the game that we have to play here.
Were you worried immediately in that match? Did it just not look right almost straight away?
Yeah. And we tried to change some things and it didn't make it better. And we had some moments where we looked a little bit better and the start of the second half was a tiny bit better and we understood better what we had to do. But then the execution was so poor. The goals that we gave it away were extremely poor and nothing. They deserve to win the match.
Yeah, you said both goals were poor. Does the first goal sum it up really, coming from a foul throw?
We know that's where it starts.
Yeah. What have you said to your players in there?
What I'm saying here, that is extremely disappointed that Newcastle were 10 times better than us and fully deserves the match, and the performance is just nowhere near the level that we have to play. We want to play in the Champions League.
Are you shocked by it? You seem almost stunned by what you've seen.
I am incredibly disappointed. I don't know if the word is stunned. Obviously, when you see the team that we have at the moment, there is a lot of question mark in a lot of positions because the injuries and the suspension and everything that we had. But again, it's not an excuse. Today we're at the races.
Yeah. How many players out there were not 100%?
It's not about 100%. I think everybody, when he jumps on the pitch, cannot use the excuse to do anything else. And it's the players that we have. We have been playing like that in the last few weeks and trying to get through that. Players want to be on the pitch, which is the merit as well that you have to, the credit you have to give to the players. But today we weren't good enough.
Worst performance of the season?
I don't know. It's obviously a very painful one.
Yeah. When you won at Villa mid-March, 6 points clear of Spurs, it has been more erratic, the form since then. Why do you think that is?
Well, a lot of happened to the squad of injuries that we picked and the changes that we have to make, but still, it was in our hands. Today it's not in our hands. We have to beat Everton, and we have to wait for Norwich to beat the Spurs, and that's what we have to wait now.
Do you still feel like there is a tiny chance?
There's always a chance in football, and you have to be there just in case that chance appears.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Do you want a hug? Do you want a hug?
No.
Do you want a cuddle?
Why you being so...
I'm not. I love you, really.
I can't. I would never. I don't act like that no more. I've stopped doing that. That's celebrating when
Really?
my team do well.
I remember.
Stop doing
Remember
that.
the
Say
years?
that with a straight face.
You remember the years?
You nearly convinced a few people out there.
I was devastated.
What was it?
Got so
Arsenal won
close.
18 out of the last 19 or
18 out of the
something
last-
like that?
yeah, 18 out of the last 19.
I've been waiting a long time for this, Steve. A long time.
I know.
It's
We've
just a shame that
we've
it's cost
watched
them
many a
Champions
game of
League.
this fixture together, and you have suffered, Alan. You
Oh,
have
just a
suffered.
bit. Just a bit.
So, I mean, tremendous scenes back behind here with all the families and the players getting pictures. Before we
brilliant.
get to the goals, we were just saying it's in stark contrast. It's night and day, isn't it, from
It's
the
just
previous regime?
it's a different transformed football club, a different area to what it was 6 months ago, a year ago, 10 years ago when Mike Ashley had the football club. I mean, for such a clever businessman, it's just a cry and shame. He didn't understand. He just didn't read the room. He didn't know what Newcastle was about. He just didn't have a clue of what to do. Because scenes like that make you appreciate for what it is as a football club, as an area. The whole area lives and breathes football. It's their life. So for someone to come in and not get that and not understand that, but then the new owners coming in, and it is chalk and cheese. It's incredible, the change. It's a happy place. They've got their club back, and you see scenes like that with the players there, all the families, and responding to the crowd, what they're giving them, and they just want hard work. And that's they got that tonight. They got that for 90 minutes. That's all they want. That's all they demand. The little bit of quality within the game or extra bits, but they just want hard graft. They do the same as what they do every single day to earn their money. It's amazing.
Let's have a look at how Arsenal won and done this. You weren't happy with the build-up to the first goal.
No, because when you look at the first...
Is what they do every single day to earn their money. It's amazing.
Let's have a look at how Arsenal won and done this. You weren't happy with the build-up to the first goal.
No, because when you look at the first goal, it's our throw-on. Look at this. This, for, look at that. So, you think to yourself, what are you doing? So then off of the back of that, then once it gets out, it breaks down a bit, it gets out to Cedric. You can't let San Maximum go outside you so easy. Cut the line off, show him inside, band us straight into us. So it's a great cross from Joe Linton, but at the same time, that could have easily been avoided. And when you're going for fourth, you've got to be more resolute than that. You can't make mistakes like that. When you make mistakes like that, and it's an own goal, but we've been the architects of our own downfall there. It's terrible play.
When Arsenal have needed performances most, the last two games in red-hot atmospheres, the players have failed to turn up. They've looked as if they've run on empty. They looked as if they've been scared to perform in what is a brilliant atmosphere. Tottenham, and again this evening at Newcastle, we've never seen them perform at all, and it really looked too much for them.
They looked shot after the first goal, and Newcastle made sure they had a couple of chances before this one came in, actually, didn't they?
Yeah, it was. It could have and should have been more. Such was the dominance of their performance. It was a brilliant run from Callum Wilson. As I said, that's what he's really good at. He times it really well, and then that guy Bruno Guimaraes, what a signing he has been, and the fans adore him. They love his passion, they love his ability, they love that he also understands the area and gets the area and what it's about.
Yeah.
And he's made a magnificent start to his Newcastle career. He's got the crowd right behind him, and rightly so, and he's only going to get better. And his ability will be able to attract better players, because when they see the likes of him going there and Trippier going there, and they think there's something happening at Newcastle, and it's because of players like him trusting what the owners have told him, what the managers told him, and long may that continue.
But Arsenal again disjointed there in the way they conceded that.
Well, yeah, even that, there's a couple of opportunities to clear it. Maybe Xhaka could have cleared it. I think Ben White steps in, and he should have held his position, made it a little bit more difficult. But I think, again, it comes down to experience and being in that kind of atmosphere. And I said, to stay calm and do the right things. You needed proper performances. We didn't get them because the mistakes they made they were punished. And we didn't have tonight anyone playing well enough to get on the ball and make something happen to turn Newcastle, get them on the back foot. I don't think any Newcastle defender at any stage felt under any kind of pressure. You know, Martinelli came on and done a little bit, but like it wasn't enough. It was a bit too late for him. But yeah, it's a bit disappointing. But like I say, you know, they're gonna learn a lot from this season, and you hope that next season they get the kind of backing where they can then get something from what they've learned this season.
OK, let's hear from one of those Arsenal youngsters and get some reaction from inside their dressing room. Here is Bukayo Saka.
It wasn't to be for Arsenal tonight.
Everywhere from the start, we lost every duel. We couldn't play out from the back well. Just overall, the performance was just so poor.
Frustrating result last time, but you still had the chance to take control of your own destiny tonight and go into the final game with your Champions League future in your hands. Did you do enough tonight to try and do that?
No.
How damaging has tonight been for you now as a group?
Obviously, we're all very disappointed. Technically, it's not over, but you know, we've made it really difficult for ourselves.
You've got Europa League football as it stands. Now that's progress from the season you're in just now. Can you view it as that, or will you be disappointed if you don't manage to get Champions League football come the weekend?
I think obviously because, you know, we had it in our hands. If we let it slip, you know, it'd be such a disappointment. So I think if we don't get it, I think we'll all be so gutted.
Just finally, do people need to give you a little bit of leeway? It's a very young squad. It's a squad that is building. As you mentioned, it's still progress on last year, even if you don't get over the line.
Yeah, of course. That's a good point. You know, we're all so young, but, you know, I think here we have to take our opportunities. You know, it doesn't really matter about your age. You know, when you have an opportunity, you have to take it. The last 2 games, we had an opportunity. If we win, we put ourselves in a great position, and we failed to do that.
Appreciate you coming and speaking to us.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, he was very honest as well. I mean, at the start, he said we lost every single duel, individual duel.
Yeah, well, that's why we saw what happened at half-time. Al, when you see a team come out and they're out there 3-4 minutes before the other team, the managers told them to get out and put it right. You know, now he's come out and he's been very honest, and he's right to be, because, you know, he's right. It's in their hands to do it, but they couldn't do it for whatever reason. You know, we can blame it on the youth, we could blame it on just players not turning up, because that's what happened in the last couple of games, especially players didn't turn up today. And Newcastle, you come to a Newcastle team, like we mentioned at the start, nothing really to play for. They're safe. It's going to be a vibrant atmosphere, and you have to compete. You can't play like that. And even if you are under pressure, you've got to still try and play your game to then put Newcastle on the back foot, like I've mentioned. It didn't happen. And again, what it showed me is that we're not ready for fourth. We're not ready for fourth because we've got to a stage in the season where we could have made it happen for ourselves, but we haven't got maybe the experience or the quality in the team to see it over the line. And that is what Mikel will probably be working on in the summer.
I think what surprised me with the Arsenal team was that on the back of such a poor performance against Tottenham, what you want and need is you need a game straight away to say, OK, we want to get that out of our system. Now, we all knew, everyone all knew what the atmosphere was going to be like at St James's Park tonight. So those players should have known, and Mikel Arteta would have known. So I was really surprised that it looked as if it caught them by surprise. It looked as if they were like rabbit in the headlights. They didn't know what hit them. We all knew what was going to come. We all knew and expected Newcastle to go after Arsenal right from the off, because we said that. That's what the Newcastle fans demand. You have to do that. And Arsenal couldn't cope with that. They couldn't cope with being put under pressure. And that was the surprising thing for me. They never laid a glove on Newcastle over 95 minutes at all. We expected them to have their moment in the game. And I said that if they keep it 0-0 for the first half or even the first 20 minutes, and that's first job done. And it was. So we were expecting some kind of reaction in the second half, and it never. In fact, they got worse. Newcastle got better. They put them under more pressure, I said, because shooting down the hill towards the Gallagher end, they suck the ball in the net. That's what they want. That's what they demand. And Arsenal, it was as if they just didn't know what was going to happen.
You've got to say as well, though, Newcastle's pressing. You're thinking to yourself, which is why I said, at some stage you're going to have your time. They did not give us any time. You know, to keep up that level of intensity, and we've seen Newcastle early season. We've mentioned it how many times you've said no intensity, no drive, no commitment. That's totally turned on its head, because for the whole of that game, Newcastle gave not one Arsenal player a moment's time on the ball for them to try and get themselves going. And if Arsenal want to get to the levels they're going to get to, they're going to have to play in that kind of situation and get a lot better doing it. So, like I say, I hope it's a learning curve for them.
We're talking of reaction.
And coming off of a poor defeat the game before, and like Al said, you get to play a game that you are still in control of in respect of the result. If you get the right result, you put the pressure on, and they didn't do it. So that's a massive worry for him. Like I say, that's probably why he sent them out at half-time. You know, tried to give them a rocket to let them understand, get yourselves going. But in no department did Arsenal get themselves going. No one played well enough to actually cause Newcastle any problems. And in the end, it was a procession for Newcastle. It was very easy. And that's worrying, because there was so much at stake.
He looks shell-shocked, Alan, doesn't he, Mikel?
I think he is, because when you've got so close to getting your hands on something very special, and that's what Arsenal would have had, was something very special in getting into the Champions League. I said beforehand, manager of the season, if he had got that squad, because I don't think it's a very good squad. So to have even been in with a chance, they deserve a bit of credit. But when you get that close, and your last two performances are the two of the biggest performances that you need of your life to get in there, because you've put yourself in that position. Now, come on, let's go and kick on. It's the two of the worst performances of the season that they've churned out, and that's why he's shell-shocked, because in two big stadiums, in front of two big crowds, in front of huge audiences all around the country, his team have not performed at all. In fact, it's been pretty embarrassing for him in the last two games, and that's why he's shell-shocked.
Does that come down to individual mentality and strength then?
It has to, yeah, because you can see that Mikel is very intense. I thought that his interview after the Tottenham game is protecting the players and not shining a light on how bad they were, because he could have picked out a few players in the Tottenham game as well. And I think coming off of the back of that, he maybe expected a little bit more from them, because he did protect them a bit, I thought. And, you know, I thought some of the questions were, you know, it went on a bit long there, but you could just see that he looked a bit shocked, a little bit shell-shocked. He's probably going to have a lot of thinking to do in respects of certain players and how I'm going to move forward now, because, like you say, whatever we say about how young the squad are, and I still think they overachieved. We all know they overachieved, but they got there. So then what happens is, mentally, individually and collectively, you're supposed to come together and put in two better performances. And then if you then come short, then you just think, well, they just came short because of for this reason or that reason, but not for effort and drive and trying at a time when you've done well to get yourself in a position at this stage of the season. You go out with two performances like that. He's got every right to be very, very disappointed with what he's seen tonight. I
think, and also in terms of how it affects Arsenal going forward, well, it does, because you're talking about a different calibre player who you want to bring into your football club. Arsenal need a top-class centre-forward. There's no doubt about that. Now, it would have been a lot easier to attract one of those playing Champions League football than it is playing every single Thursday night or every other Thursday night in the Europa League. So that makes it difficult for them as well.
These are all factors, aren't they?
Yeah, all factors. And when you look at that squad with no European football and you see how stretched it is, he's got a lot of work to do in the summer. You know, so I think Al's right. If they got to Champions League, then they probably start shopping in a very good market, because they're going to need to, and then you have to get the backing. Because then what the squad will have shown is that we need better players with this far, but we need better players to continue on the journey. But what they've shown is that they're not good enough at this level. So they need to be where they are now. They need to bolt on a couple more players and then, like I keep saying, learn from the experience of this season and hopefully benefit from that next season.
But a more important point, how good were Newcastle?
You're out of order, Al. You're out of order.
They were magnificent.
You've asked and answered the same question. I had to have the final word. Come on, just shake hands. Just give us a hug.
I love you, Al.
Give us a hug.
Well done. I'm pleased with Newcastle, Al.
Honestly, it's like refereeing a boxing